The final step in most analyses is to make a map, and I'm going to show you how to take the data view and the data layers and make a map that's can be part of a report or project. So in this exercise, we're going to make a map of the national land cover types within the herd boundary, and this is this raster layer here, and it has the attributes are these different land cover codes. And when you make a map, you probably wouldn't really want to display these codes, but rather you would want to display the names for these codes. And in this, sometimes in data layers, that information would actually be in the attribute table. Maybe you'd have another column here that would say land cover description, but in this case we don't. But we do have this lookup table here that tells me that for what the cover type actually is for each one of these codes. So we're going to start by joining that table to this raster layer, and that gives me a chance to also show you this join and relate feature in ArcGIS. So I'm going to join, and the field I want to join based on is the code, and the file I want to join to is this lookup table that was called nlcd types.txt that we just looked at, and the item in that table is also code. So let's go ahead and do that. And you didn't really see anything, but if I open that attribute table, you will see that you now also have these land cover types in the attribute tables beyond just the codes. So now, magically enough, you can just go into your symbology, click on the layer, and instead of displaying this data on the code, we'll display it on cover type, and there we have the different cover types. So if you say OK there, you can see that each, instead of looking at the codes, you have the names for the different types. When you make maps, I would highly recommend that you give colors that are appropriate to your layers. For example, you probably shouldn't have red lakes, blue forests, black grasslands, unless they are burned or something like that. But have some realistic colors. Maps are much easier to interpret if they have colors that make sense. So I'm going to go with my bare ground. I'm going to pick a, might be a little easier actually if I go into the symbology and do this. So for the bare ground, I'll pick a gray color, commercial, maybe a red or brownish red. Deciduous forest, definitely green. Evergreen forest, maybe darker green. Fallow orange is probably fine. Grasslands, I'm okay with yellow. Low intensity residential, I'm okay with the pink color there. Mixed forest, that green's okay. I could, if I want to make it a little different than the deciduous forest, I could pick another green maybe, so make it a little lighter. Open water, I'll be traditional, go with blue. Shrublands, how about brown? Transitional, I think we could go maybe with a purple or something for that transition between forest and woodlands, or forest and shrubs. Woody wetlands will give a lightish blue. Small grains, I'm okay with this, or orange color. And urban recreational grasses, that must be lawns. Do we have any colors left? We can give it a kind of a grayish green. So I think that's much better. Immediately you can see that this area is dominated by shrublands. So we got our map, we got the layout the way we want it. I do want to change the name of this. You can just click on it and say land cover types, for example, instead of NLCD. Heard NLCD doesn't really mean anything to most people. And you can also change this name to maybe cover types. and that's what's going to show up in the legend. That's why I changed those things. So I'm going to go to view, and instead of the data view, I'm going to put this on a piece of paper and click layout view. So now your map is going to be basically put on a sheet, on a piece of paper. Make that a little smaller. So you can just adjust the size of these layers, and I think I'm okay with having the rivers there. You know, they are part of that landscape, so I'm going to leave them there. And then you can start using your insert to add different features. So we can add a title, and this could be land cover types within the redbird herd, maybe bighorn sheep. Sounds pretty good. So we'll have that on top. Usually you have a title. If you're making a map that's going to go in a publication, sometimes they don't have titles, but you will add a figure text on the bottom. So there are instances where a title is not appropriate or necessary. Usually you would have, in this case, I'm going to add some text because I want to point out what states we're in. Idaho. I'm not going to make a locator map. That became awfully small. Let's see, how can I make some changes in there? Maybe I'll just make it bigger using these tools. There we go. Maybe bold, maybe italic. So we know where we are in the world. And then if I'm happy with that, I can just copy and paste. You can click on right-click C, right-click V for copy paste, and this is then Washington State. To give us a sense of place. And down here we have Oregon. All right, so we got states. We kind of know where we are. It's always good to have some landmarks like that, and because we have the state boundaries, which need to be a little thicker, I think, so they actually show up. There we go. Okay, and then we need a legend. Okay, so let's look and see what layers we're going to have in this legend. We're going to have the land cover types, streams, state polygon, herd boundary. Looks good. If I wanted to have any other layers, you could just click on them here and click the over arrow there. But this set looks fine. I'm going. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't really need it to be called legend because I know it's a legend. I might want to have a border around it, and I might want to have a background color. I think I'll go with white. And you can have shadows and whatnot and stuff, but I'm going to make it pretty simple here. And one thing I'm going to do, if you look a little closer at this legend, let's see if I can actually zoom in on that somehow. Oh, I guess my map zoom tools are scrunched up in this corner here, so maybe I'll look at it at 100% size. That's always a good way to kind of see how it's going to print. So you can see that these names, like herd down underscore BND, is not a real good name for herd boundary. But if I changed it here in the table of contents, it will also change in the legend. So, and state polygon, I don't like that either. State boundaries. And STRMS arc is ugly, so let's go with streams. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to zoom back out again. Go with 50%. And yeah, that legend is a little big, isn't it? So we can shrink that down. Make it fit maybe up Up there, there is space. Usually there are some natural places on maps to put legend and scale bars and all those kinds of things. So I think that looks pretty good right there. If I wanted to move my map, I can pick the pan hand and move my map a little bit to fit. Okay, so we got a legend. We also need a north arrow. Lots to pick from. I like that one. There it ended up right there. I'm just going to put it up here with my legend. Maybe make it a little bigger. See, you can just resize all these items that you put in. Finally, scale bar. Pick one there. And I'll put that at the bottom here. That one looks a little scrunched up as well. Let's zoom in on it and see what it actually is going to look like when you print. Yeah, see, these are a little close together, so we could maybe make it a little simpler, maybe only have 3 divisions. And this is going to be in a scientific document, so we should have kilometers, and I'd like to put that maybe under, yeah, kilometers, maybe under the bar, so you can below center. How about that? So there, that looks better, not so compacted. And then the final thing I'm going to put on my map here is a text box that talks about the data. So data source, USGS, national land cover data. Let's open that up. Let's say something about the coordinates. UTM, zone 11, datum NAD 27. The date. You can put date and the map creators, you can put your name on it as well. August. See if I can spell here. 2013, and I put my name in University of Idaho there. So that text box, and I want to have it right justified, so we'll just put that at the bottom there, and you can change fonts and all kinds of things with that, and colors if you want to. But those are the main items that really should be on the map. You can also put grids on maps, especially for field purposes. If you're going to take the map into the field and navigate using that map, you should probably have a coordinate system on it where you have grid coordinates on the sides, but I'm not going to put that in on this map. So there you have it. You got your main map. You got a way to identify where in the world this is. Instead of writing down the state names, you could have had a locator map. You have a title. There's a legend. There is a north arrow and a scale bar that tells the user about how large of an area this is. So those are the main components that you need to have on your map, and make sure your legend is legible and that the map really tells the story that you intend to tell.